What's up? Welcome to this week's edition of 5 Minutes of Management. As always, I'm Frank Kalman here with Rick Bell. Rick, we've got game changers on the horizon. Is that right?
We have game changers, applications still pouring in, Frank. So nominate your friends, your colleagues, your allies, somebody else on the other side of the fence, you name them, just as long as they're under 40 years old as of August. You just get those names into us and go to workforce.com/game changers, and you'll find all the information you need to know about the 7th Annual Game Changers Awards.
And again, that appears in the August issue, right, of Workforce?
Correct.
So
yes, absolutely.
Check out the August issue of Workforce for our Game Changers program. Rick,
yeah.
What do we have for news this week?
Well, Frank, on the heels of Aetna's deal with Humana being shot down last month, this week we heard that Cigna's deal with Anthem has been shot down as well. So federal judges don't like the fact that these large healthcare companies are deciding to merge, and they feel like it's having an effect on consumers. So it's a win for the consumers and for companies, I think, and I think that you'll wind up seeing that these rulings will stay.
We'll also have to see how this plays out in the wake of the Trump administration hoping to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, which, if you didn't catch it during his interview with Bill O'Reilly during the Super Bowl, he said that they would have their replacement rolled out or ready for rollout like early 2018. We'll see about that. Donald Trump's not too good at kind of keeping consistent word, but we'll have to see. So,
yes, we know.
Anyway, Rick, speaking of Donald Trump, there's been a lot of consternation lately about the impact that immigration has on wages. And the classic argument coming from the Trump camp has been, more immigration typically suppresses wages for native-born workers. Well, according to a report this week in the Wall Street Journal citing a new research study for the Center for Global Development, a team of economists looked at the mid-century Bracero program, which allowed nearly 500,000 seasonal farm workers per year into the U.S. from Mexico. The Johnson administration terminated the program in 1964, which ultimately created a large-scale experiment on labor supply and demand. What they actually found out from this program, once the guest workers left, wages actually didn't come up for native-born workers. What actually ended up happening was farm owners under this program just didn't hire more people. They automated more tasks and tried to get around the influx of labor. So this is kind of an insight into this idea that, eliminating immigration is not going to boost wages necessarily for American-born people.
Yeah, and I think that argument has been there for decades too. It's not necessarily a new argument, but it's interesting that it's resurfacing.
Yes, it's an
now.
Interesting study, and if you haven't checked it out, you should check it out on WallStreetJournal.com.
Right.
What else we got?
Well, speaking of automation, Frank, so we just learned today, recently that Zenefits, our favorite health insurance platform, health insurance broker company, has laid off another 500 people. And one of the reasons they're citing is potential automation. This follows on the heels of the appointment of Jay Fulcher as their new CEO, just within the past week. And so it happened very quickly. Now, all the people at Zenefits are saying that this has been on the drawing boards for quite some time, that even though it came as a shock, I'm sure, to many of their employees, this was in the plans for Zenefits for some time. So yeah, Frank, we're seeing consolidation, and we're also seeing that automation is having an effect on employees.
Yeah, I believe it was as much as 45% of Zenefits workforce ultimately got laid off, which, huge deal for Zenefits. They've been undergoing a lot of changes these past couple months. They're constantly in the news. Full disclosure, Human Capital Media, the parent company of Workforce, is a Zenefits user, so just keep that in mind. But anything else from you, Rick?
No, Frank, I think that's good.
Awesome. Well, be sure to follow us at 5 Minutes of Management on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.